We all like to think that human connection is this spontaneous, amazing thing. But what if I told you that some of our most intense interactions aren't spontaneous at all? What if they're secretly running on a script? A kind of psychological game with invisible rules and very, very real stakes. I mean, we've all had that feeling, right? That moment in a conversation or a relationship where something just feels off. Or you suddenly realize you're not just a player in the game, you might actually be a piece being moved around on someone else's board. And that's really the heart of what we're getting into here. We're talking about situations where the whole idea of attraction gets completely flipped on its head. It stops being about connection and it starts being about psychological power. So let's get specific. The first play we're going to break down from this kind of psychological playbook is a game called Rapo. The real deception here is that the game is designed to make you feel safe, to make you feel like there's interest, only to completely pull the rug out from under you. And the goal? It isn't just rejection. It's about the power trip that comes from making someone else feel confused, guilty, and totally off balance. It's like a little three-act play. First, there's the bait. You get these clear signals of interest, lots of flirting. Then, bam, the switch. A sudden, jarring pivot to accusing you or shaming you. And the payoff for the player, they get this huge sense of control and this twisted kind of moral high ground, all because they engineered the whole thing to come out on top. Okay, so let's move on to our next play and see how this all builds. This one is called the stalking game. And, well, it operates with a whole lot more subtlety. The key phrase for this entire game is plausible deniability. See, unlike Rapo's direct bait and switch, this game lives in all the gray areas. It's that suggestive comment, that lingering glance. It lets the player get all the validation and the ego boost they're craving, but without ever having to actually commit or take any responsibility for it. So here's the breakdown. The tease is what creates all the tension. Then comes the denial. That classic, oh, what? I was just being friendly. That's what keeps the player safe and totally in control. And the payoff? It's pure psychological gain. They get a nice ego boost from seeing the effect they have on someone, and they get to feel dominant by controlling this unspoken narrative. So a good way to think about it is this. Both games are about power. They just use different tools to get there. Rapo is like a hammer. It's direct, it's accusatory, and it's designed to make you feel shame. The stalking game, though, that's more like a scalpel. It's subtle, it uses teasing, and it hides behind denial. Two totally different tactics, but for one identical motive. All right, now for our final play. This one takes a really sharp turn away from all that seduction stuff and dives straight into open conflict. This one is called Uproar. Have you ever been in a situation where tiny little disagreements constantly explode into massive fights? Well, that is the very essence of Uproar. It's a strategy to turn a relationship into an emotional battleground, specifically so you can sidestep any real, vulnerable, genuine conversation. It's a really destructive cycle. The player triggers drama, usually over something pretty minor. Then it just escalates into total chaos, a full-blown argument that completely derails any chance of a productive discussion. And the payoff for them? They get to control the environment and, maybe most importantly, they get to avoid the genuine intimacy that they might actually be afraid of. So we've deconstructed these plays, we've seen the mechanics behind them, but the most powerful move you can make isn't about playing the game better, it's about recognizing that you're in a game in the first place. When you actually look at all three of these games together, the common threads are just impossible to miss. At their very core, they're all built on manipulation. And that manipulation, it often stems from the player's own deep insecurity. They run on hidden motives, and tragically, they almost always result in emotional harm for the other person. And here's the fundamental truth you have to remember. No matter how much they might look like flirting or passion or just intense drama, it all just boils down to this. Every single move is designed to maintain psychological power, not to build a real, genuine connection. And really, that's the question we're left with, isn't it? Recognizing the game is step one. That gives you awareness. But the real power, that comes when you can see the board, you understand the rules, and you consciously choose your next move.